chase down breakaways. They know exactly how to keep a race under control, and of course they do know how to launch Mark Cavendish into orbit at the end of about 160-kilometre stage.
Well, certainly Mark Renshaw does. He's the best lead-out man in the world, and you can ask Thor Hushovd the same thing. He used to lead out Thor Hushovd, but he's lost him now, Thor, to Team Columbia and to Mark Cavendish in particular.
Well, just looking at the riders on the front here for this squad, in fact, the men do the majority of the pacemaking are Bernard Eisel, Kim Kirken, Tony Martin and Maxime Montfort. They will keep in reserve for as long as possible Hincapie and Mark Renshaw, because those are the two riders who will be called upon to whip up the pacemaking later on. That's Mick Rogers, who's just done a massive turn on the front, keeping it at the 21-second market margin. Team Astana are coming to the front, but they're not thinking about chasing anybody down this afternoon. They just want to keep Alberto Contador, Phil, at the front end of the pack.
Absolutely, keep him safe and celebrate with him a little bit later on. The riders here trying to grab that little strip of smooth road there, because it is a bit more pleasant and you can go a little bit more faster. Wegman goes through and comes back. Dumoulin is now setting the pace there, followed by Pichot. The peloton are just there. They could almost lasso them.
Well, I'm not quite sure what Wegman is doing there. He's jumped across to get himself into the slipstream of the motorbike and maybe just get a little bit of a drag from that motorbike and immediately gets himself onto the back end of the line of riders. Dumoulin is doing big chunks of work at the front end of this group, and here, when you've gone around the hairpin bend at the top, you get a chance to look over and see the faces of the riders who are trying to chase you down.
Well, as they go down this side now, they look across, they see the peloton. It doesn't look to me like the working group it was a little bit earlier. There's Team Columbia bringing the whole team around. Team Garmin have now moved up as well. They've got the American sprinter, Tyler Farrar, who believes he can deliver. And of course, you've always got Thor Hushovd not far away, and Heinrich Hausler has also moved in there.
Well, I have to say, Columbia are doing the bulk of the pacemaking, but I think if Tyler Farrar wants to win this race this afternoon, Phil, they've got to take the initiative inside of the last 2 kilometres and try and get the jump on Mark Cavendish, because if you let Cavendish start the sprint, you're never going to come round him.
Look at him, there he is. The secret missile no longer, because everybody knows just how fast that man can kick a bicycle now, and where does his power come from? There is Thor Hushovd, the only Norwegian ever to carry that green jersey home. He's about to do it again today, unless somehow he doesn't finish in the top 25 riders at the line. This is going to be a very rapid finish, and we're coming around now. When we get through the start-finish, or the finishing line rather, it is 2 laps to go.
Hushovd just sitting locked in the slipstream of Mark Cavendish. Not far away you can see the Garmin riders with the orange sleeves there. They are looking for their man Tyler Farrar, and I would have to say, if they got themselves together, they've got some real serious firepower to make their own lead out. If you start to talk about guys like David Miller, Bradley Wiggins, Julian Dean, you've got a good lead out train as well, and if they want to win this afternoon, they've got to take the initiative and start the lead out first.
They have got to break up. If they keep allowing the way Columbia are riding here to take control, they will not break this race up. And at the moment, I haven't actually seen too many Garmin riders come up there. I have seen Julian Dean. He'll look to position himself last lead out man. Look at this, Femi-Uni Beppu, who is now pushing on. He won't give up this. 22 seconds and holding. Veikkonen goes through, followed by Beredo, and then comes Pichot, and Wegman rather than Pichot.
I think it was interesting before, Phil, you were talking about all the different nationalities of flags we'd seen at the side of the road. Well, this is the first year I think we've been to the Tour de France and seen the Japanese flag flying high in the mountains, and that was in support of the 2 Japanese riders who are about to finish the Tour de France to become the first 2 Japanese riders ever to finish the Tour.
Well, it's nice to know that the Tour de France is now being watched on Japanese television. The peloton goes storming across the Place de la Concorde once again, getting around towards 2 to go.
Well, the race radio is telling us that it's 20 seconds the gap, just looking down there at the Eiffel Tower in the background, and it wasn't until 1930 that the height of the Eiffel Tower was exceeded by the Chrysler skyscraper in Manhattan. Well, they're calling for Matthew Lloyd. He's got another mechanical. This is the face of Mickey Rogers, 3 times a champion of the world at the individual time trial, but here working as an ultra domestique for Mark Cavendish, keeping the pace nice and high, trying to peg back that leading group of 7 riders. Last year's winner there, number 1, Carlos Sastre, just sitting at the back end of the main field. He's had a very quiet Tour de France this year. You know, you can't always be at the top of your game when you come to the month of July, as Cadel Evans also knows. 7 riders, these 7 riders who broke away a long time ago, they're still surviving, but only just.
20 seconds as they're heading round the back of the Tuileries again now, and then they'll be up through the finishing line. 2 laps to go. This is the psychological lap now, Paul. They need to close it down this lap.
I think this is the lap they will try and kick up the pace a fraction to try and nail them around about halfway through this gap and bring it back down to the complete peloton once again. They know it's important now to close them down. It's coming down slowly, but painfully slowly, to 19 seconds.
It's past the Norwegian flags here as we go round the Tuileries, past the Ferris wheel, heading towards the Place de la Concorde, onto the Champs-ElySees. Then it will be 2 laps to the finish. Mark Cavendish, with a brilliant Team Columbia, is being set up for the win here, and he knows it.
Well, that was Berg Grabsch, time trial champion of the world, on the front, hammering out a pace. You can see the difference between these riders now, Phil. Slowly but surely, Columbia HTC are dragging them back. It's down to 16 seconds. It was 35. It came down to 30. Now it's 16. And we're coming up to the point where it's just 2 laps to go to the finish.
Well, 16 seconds in the centre of Paris at the end of the Tour de France is absolutely nothing. As we're looking here at Carlos Sastre, who was the winner of this race a year ago. Not so this time. That'll be another Spanish rider, Alberto Contador. This is Beppu, who is driving. He must know they're coming now. They're coming onto the Champs-Élysées. They will see very shortly. 2 laps to the finish of the Tour de France, and it could well be the British rider Cavendish who is being delivered to the line.
This is such a difficult sprint to judge, though, Phil. You've got to be very calm and collected. If you come around that corner and you're too excited and you open up the sprint too early,